Milo is a yearling, and he was wild when he got him, and today was his first introduction to the concept of driving. I think it went phenomenally successful, and I think three key parts played a role in this success. One was that before you start introducing driving, there's got to be minimum of basic education, such as establishing trust, most importantly, leadership, but also practically speaking, trust behind, like allowing you to be behind him, picking up his feet, being able to lead and be tied up are the basic things. So that's number one, trust and education. Number two was the environment, because he was wild when we first got him. He couldn't be caught, he couldn't be led, nothing. He was afraid of people. But he learned from the other horses. He was here with his mom, and his mom wasn't helping because she was wild kind of too. But our horses are free. They come to the house. They are basically in our backyard, and they really hang out like family. And he learned pretty quickly that people weren't bad and dogs weren't bad, and all the rest of the animals that we have. He just fit in a big happy family, and nobody's trying to get each other. And so he kind of relaxed and just learned from the other horses that he should come, and it's not scary. So self-realization learning is what that is. And then the third factor was the energy that I approached him with today. It was actually really light and fun, and I really pretended that he's a little kid, and I was just cheering him on if he even tried to find the answer to my question. I wasn't blaming him for getting the wrong answer as he was searching for the right answer, and just kept it really fun, like a game. And I recognized that he was getting a little unsure, but every time he really tried for me, I released the pressure and I cheered him on, making him sure of himself and how much I appreciate the try. And then he gave me even more, and so this was done in less than 24 minutes. It was his very first time wearing a harness, his very first time being asked to walk forward when no one is in front of him, which is, by the way, usually done easier with two people there. But I think it was that energy and understanding that he could trust me and I'm not going to get after him. And it's a little game, and as long as he's searching for the answer, I would tell him when he got it right. And I would applaud him and be so happy. And so amazing. I'm going to walk you through it as best as I can. So he's had a saddle before, and we've gotten him used to the cinch and all that. So that wasn't new. But again, every time I've been in front of him asking him to either move to the side or follow me around. For horses, and I taught him, with the round penning and all, I taught him to face me, which is a respectful way to be, to join up and all that kind of stuff. So step number one was to get him comfortable with me standing behind him. And then with the little stick that I use, I rubbed him so that he understands that that's just an extension of my arm, and it's actually a kind tool. It's nothing to be afraid of. And just standing still there without facing me was the first task to accomplish. I was standing quietly when he was quiet. I really brought my energy down right there and rubbed him. If he started moving again, I would adjust my body to be right behind his tail, and then I would quiet myself again. Now watch, he is turning, turning, turning. I'm trying to adjust myself to the same position right behind his tail. And he's basically looking for an answer. He cannot understand why I'm back there and what do I want. I apologize for the video. It's what happens when you try to film by yourself. And you're trying to also not ruin the horse by having incorrect timing so you can be in front of the camera. So right there, I was now trying to make step 2 happen, which is him moving forward with me standing behind him. So the stick is rubbing him to reassure him, and then the stick is creating energy to try to move him forward. And the moment he steps forward, I kind of release, but I always go back to his tail because I want him to know that that's the new position of leadership. I'm just behind him, and he's like, what? That's weird. He's checking me out there, and he's still unsure of what the answer is. He still wants to face me because, again, that's what he's been taught, to just face me. But so it's so important to have that energy, just kind of quiet behind him and make him sure that that position is the right answer. And then when I create energy that he needs to move forward and he keeps wiggling around to the sides, but I'm waiting for that one intention, weight shift, tiny step, whatever he gives me forward, and then I quit and I get really quiet and I praise him a lot for it. So just the fact that he's standing still now, I accept that because, again, I want him to think forward. And he will get the wrong answer a few times because he doesn't know what the right answer is. That's just weird to him. And he's trying, and he's super sensitive, so I have to watch my energy. Especially with young horses, babies, you can't be too forward, too stern, too energetic. It's more of a cheerleader thing. You have to appreciate every little try and make them really sure when they give you the right answer that that was the right answer, and praise them a lot. So I'm also kind of zigzagging my hands there just to point his head forward. And now he's really starting to get it. Look at that. All of a sudden, it all clicked in his brain, and he's just walking forward now. So the most important tips here that I can give you is that you have to have really good timing of the release of pressure with your hands as the horse is moving forward and trying to keep their head straight. But you got to tug and release really with great timing. Also, be careful that when the reins are so loose and they're hanging low and hitting the ground, and you don't want to reprimand that too harshly because you want to focus on the one goal of walking forward. However, they can easily step on the rein and scare themselves and kind of get into a wreck there. So you really have to be conscious of that and try to keep the slack off the reins, but at the same time, don't apply pressure to their face so that they could be encouraged to move forward, and yet, you got to prevent them from stepping on the rein or getting tangled in it. So here in step 2, I'm actually going to try to introduce him to parts of the harness, not only because I want him to get used to the harness, but also because there are these neat metal loops called turrets that are placed right above the saddle of the harness, where you can thread your reins through, and it just helps guide the reins and prevents from them hanging low and slacking to where the horse can step on them and tangle themselves in them. You still have to be very conscious, and you still have to pay attention to what those reins are doing and really have good rein management. So the parts of the harness that I'm putting on him right now are the saddle, uh, and of course the girth. And then under his tail, I'm putting the breeching so he can kind of feel that. And then the loin straps are going to kind of hang on his sides there, and they have their own little feel and movement to them. So of course I want to get him used to that. He can feel the back strap. I didn't really attach the crooper yet under his tail because this harness is meant for my little minis and it's just not fitting him correctly. The back strap is way too short. The crooper is too short, so I couldn't even make it work there. But he felt it under his tail a little bit, and that's okay. As you can see, he's not freaking out. And again, it comes back to that trust. He knows that I'm gonna keep him safe, and any little thing we do is just kind of a game we play. When you reach under, again, you have to make sure that your horse is not gonna overreact. On young horses, it's just usually a good idea to pull that cinch up and then release it a few times. Like pull, let them feel it, release it, so they know, okay, this thing is not attached to me forever and ever, and I can breathe again. And then pull it up again, apply that little pressure, make them realize it's not scary by letting it down again. And then finally, make it snugly tight. Don't like cut off their blood circulation or anything. Don't make it too tight, but don't make it so loose that the whole thing is gonna roll and then it's scarier for the horse. So I am kind of attaching the breeching to the front. I'm just really doing Mickey Mouse stuff because that's not a harness that fits him, and it's not something that I'm attaching to the cart. I just want him to feel that different type of pressure all over his flank there and the undergirth and all that, and just be okay with whatever he's feeling. This kind of you can make do however you want with that, or I just want things to be out of the way. All the straps that are attached there, like the belly bands and all that, I want them to be out of the way because I don't want him to step on them and scare himself or break my harness. And as you can see, he's not reacting negatively to any of it. He is being tied up, standing still, and being an awesome boy. So now I'm gonna try to thread the reins through those terrets I was talking about. And at this point, I'm only using a halter, a rope halter. We have not introduced the bridle yet, and the bit. That would be another step on another day, and I'll explain that when we get there. Right now, he is just giving off the pressure that he feels on his nose. And there I go, threading those reins through the terrets on the saddle. My other harness has also some metal loops right above the loin strap, so it helps guide those reins even further down the back of the horse. But this particular harness does not. So the reins tend to kind of fall off to the side of his hindquarters. But again, that's just your timing and rein management, and it could be corrected just by you paying attention so he doesn't step on them with his back legs. So now I'm gonna try to do the same exact thing with the harness on. I'm just looking for him to not be scared of my tools, to remind him by rubbing him that this is just like my arm, this little, it's a dressage whip actually is what I'm using. And so I just want to create energy with that and point his nose forward, and he remembers and he goes right ahead.
That's it. You're doing it, baby. What an awesome boy you are. Good. Walk forward.
And he did walk beautifully forward and then crashed right into my camera.
No. Walk.
Okay, well, let's see. Okay, well, that's how we do it with one person.
Okay, good boy. Walk forward. Okay, walk forward.
So another thing that helps a lot is to have a verbal cue and keep that verbal cue the same. Whatever you choose the words to be, just keep repeating them with the exact same tone of voice as you get the desired results. And now here I'm trying to get a little bit of a steering wheel going. So at first it will be a little challenging because so far you've been wanting your horse to go just straight forward, and keep your body behind his tail as much as possible. Now you're starting to like tip his nose to one side or the other while still maintaining that forward motion. So if you pull on both reins back, that of course would mean stop to the horse. But again, you can't have too much slack on the outside rein. What I mean by the outside rein is like if I'm going to the right, I apply slightly more pressure with my right hand and I move my left hand forward to just barely have contact, but not a pull. I just want to keep the slack out of the rein, but give enough space for that nose to tip to the right. So I'm shortening my right rein and I'm elongating my left rein to allow the tip of the nose to happen. But I'm just keeping the slack out of my left rein, which in this case would be called the outside rein. I think we tend to overthink steering a horse sometimes, but it's kind of just like steering a bicycle, a motorcycle, or a car. You will eventually get it. Like if you steer too much, obviously the car goes too much to the right or the left. And so you have to kind of back off and correct it. And it's kind of the same with the horse, and it's the same way that they learn as well. One might overreact and really make a sharp turn to the right if you apply too much pressure. And then eventually you kind of regulate this amount of energy and pressure and turn between the two of you, and you start speaking the same language. Things start to really fall into place. Just like, when you have a new dance partner, you kind of have to adjust your timing and your rhythm and your oomph, so to speak. But too bad that my phone isn't recording the whole thing, because he was making beautiful circles to the right and beautiful circles to the left. And eventually when I get somebody to help me film, it would look a lot better. So thanks for hanging with that for now. So this was the end of our session. I think he did amazing. And he did everything I wanted him and asked for. And again, I had given him basic education previously and establishing that trust and all. But I didn't really have a lot of repetition with him, partially because he's young and I have other horses I'm training, and I just haven't had time to spend on him. But I thought that was actually good because he's going to make a lot of mistakes and I'm going to be able to correct them and show them on video and so forth. But that didn't happen. And again, I think the reason why he did so well is because of the approach. I wasn't expecting him to get it right at all, and I didn't blame him for not getting it right. So I think in horse training, the biggest thing that can help us is to be that good teacher of a little kid, and when they get it right, or if they're looking for an answer, we're so happy with them and we encourage them and we make them sure that just looking for the right answer is what we appreciate, and then applauding them when they find the right answer. But if we go in there into the training session with this kind of expectation and entitled attitude, and the horse is not getting it, and then we're getting frustrated with the horse, and the horse is feeling that and then getting unsure and therefore losing their mind, and now we're a wreck and they're a wreck, and we may take it personal that the horse is not trying for us, or and the horse is spiteful, and all that's going on is really they're not sure and they're scared, or they don't have enough respect. But that still lays on us, on our leadership skills and setting them up for success. But sometimes we take it personal in a way that it means, in our mind, it means that we're not good enough, and we failed the horse. And that could be somewhat true, and it could be a productive take on, okay, well, let's analyze what happened, let's get it better next time. Or it could be very defeating, and that's when we really need to push through. Or some of us can rise above it and say, well, that stupid horse, he's stubborn and he just takes advantage, and he's just stupid, he doesn't get it, he's spiteful and all that. And it's never the horse. We need to look in the mirror and recognize that we're the human, we're the smart ones, so we're supposed to set them up for success. Anyway, I hope this video helped give you some ideas of what a first session could look like. Stay tuned for the next session and just his progress through a full finished pleasure driving horse. Thanks for watching.